Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to give you my April 2022 movie recommendations. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365. Okay, in this video, I will be giving you my April 2022 movie recommendations. If you're a follower of the channel, you know mostly I focus on 4K stuff when it comes to technical specs, reviews involving picture quality and audio. But once a month, I thought I would just give you my recommendations of films that I watch just in my off time, just for fun, not worrying about any technical specs or top 10 lists or anything like that. And hopefully you find something that you've never heard about that might interest you. And also, please let me know if you have something you want to recommend to me that I can, check out for myself and recommend in a future video. All right, so let's not waste any time. My first recommendation is currently in the theaters, but it will be hitting home media, I would say within the next couple months. And that is A24's Everything Everywhere All at Once. When it comes to this movie, it is really visually fantastic. I know there's a lot of the multiverse things, the genre, or if for lack of a better word, popping around, of course, with Marvel films and DC. And this one definitely tackles that subject, but it's not in the way you think. It really has a great cast. Michelle Yeoh is fantastic as the lead. I am a longtime fan of hers, and to see her in something this meaty story-wise, with not relying necessarily on martial arts, it's really cool. Just overall very good, visually pleasing film. I recommend this one highly. It is still in theaters as of this recording, but if you want to wait for it, I believe there is going to be a 4K edition coming out. But yeah, it's crazy, it's zany. I think all of it pretty much works for me. And it's just a lot of fun. And, A24 has a certain, I would say, reputation, and that definitely fits in within their tone of films. So yeah, check out Everything Everywhere All at Once. My next recommendation is the Best Picture winner of 2022, and that is Koda, which is now featured on Apple TV+. I like this one. It is really, it's a small movie. It is. If you don't know, Koda stands for Child of Deaf Adult. And it's, I think really what makes this work is the clever writing and the cast. Really just a fantastic ensemble. I believe everybody has, their moment to shine narratively. And it's a film that it's not one of those movies that tries to talk down to the audience. And it's really just, it's clever. It has so many good moments, and it moves at a brisk pace. It doesn't overstay its welcome, but yeah, I think the writing and the cast are really what highlights this one. And yeah, it's just fun. Check this one out. It definitely is something you should see. Check it out on Apple TV+. The next one is it's a trilogy of films, but it's something I'm going to recommend. It's a little cheating, but that is Krzysztof Kieślowski's Three Colors Trilogy. As you can see, this is a Criterion edition of the trilogy. Of course, you're going to have blue, white, and red. They're separate movies. Now, why I really like the Three Colors Trilogy is they have different themes. There's three different movies, three different themes, but they're all within the same quote-unquote world of one another. And there's a little bit of overlap. It's nothing, heavy-handed in that way. Just a couple characters. Some appearances from one, character in, let's say, red and white, and they would appear in blue. And it's also something that if you go back and rewatch them, you pick those little moments up, even more so. But I really like the individual stories, and I think each one has its own strengths. And I don't feel like, they really have a lot of, they're not similar in tone. And I think that's what I really like about it. It's basically, I don't want to really give too much away. I know these are older films, but it has some good, great writing. The cast just really, I think, pull these three movies together. And we all, if you're a fan of these films, you definitely have a couple favorites in there. And it's funny because when I rewatch these, before I did rewatch them, I would say blue and red were my favorites, but I kind of shifted a little bit more. I actually grew to really appreciate white, and I think white and red are kind of my leads now. So yeah, but all three of these movies really work, and you don't necessarily have to watch them in order. It goes from blue, white, and red, but you know, you can watch them in any order, honestly. And I think at repeat viewings, you could definitely appreciate it. But yeah, check out the Three Colors trilogy from the Criterion Collection. These movies are really good, and honestly, some good cinema here. So yeah, check them out. This one it's a well-known movie. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but I recently rewatched this one, and I love it. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, and that was Blade Runner 2049. You know, what can I say? Denis Villeneuve is on a hot streak. You know, for me personally, the man has a great talent behind the camera. Of course, recently with Dune, but I think the follow-up to the original Ridley Scott classic, it definitely deserves some attention. Visually, it's stunning, and I think, you know, rewatching it narratively, it absolutely works. I love that they didn't try to necessarily cut and paste, you know, the original Blade Runner to this. And, you know, while of course there's some characters and overlap from, you know, one movie to the next, it stands on its own. It's a really well done film. I feel top tier sci-fi. It was one of my favorite movies of that year. But yeah, Blade Runner 2049, get it. And if you can, get it on 4K. It's an absolute great presentation. So yeah, check that one out. This one was kind of like, we all have those movies that we either grew up watching, or we're thinking, oh, this will never get a Blu Ray, or, you know, maybe it got a DVD way back when, and you're kind of hoping for an upgrade. And it's just, you know, I think it falls into that category. And you know what I love about Blu Ray and 4K especially is it takes those older obscure movies and gives them a new breath. And I feel that in the last year or so, for me personally, a lot of those movies that I never thought would get a physical copy have started showing up, and this is one of them. The Heavenly Kid. If you've never heard about it, it's like I believe it came out in the mid 80s, like 1985 or so. It's about a guy, you know, well, quote unquote kid that, you know, died, you know, in a drag race kind of thing. And then he has to before he can move on to heaven, he has to kind of mentor somebody, you know, because he didn't live the best life before. And, you know, they strike a bond, and this one is pure 80s. Like, when I was rewatching this one, it was just, the 80s clothing was just woof. It's like right in your face. But I still feel the movie holds up, and it's got some faces you're gonna recognize. But, you know, it's funny. It has some, you know, it has a great heart to it, and there's some soundtrack choices in here that are amazing. Also, hearing a couple songs, there's one in particular, if you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about, that, you know, are great. So yeah, The Heavenly Kid, I believe it was an exclusive to one of the boutique websites, but I now think it's currently widely available on Amazon. So yeah, check out The Heavenly Kid. I don't think you'll be disappointed in that one. This one just came out recently, another A24 release, stars Joaquin Phoenix, and that is Come On, Come On. I enjoy this one. It's a small film, of course. Joaquin Phoenix plays like an interviewer from, I believe it was a radio host, and he's interviewing kids across the country about, you know, the struggles and problems they have in their life. So he's going from city to city, and then his sister calls up and, you know, wants him to come home, and he's sort of estranged from her. And, you know, she's having problems with her soon-to-be ex-husband, you know, nothing like, you know, like domestic violence wise. It's just like he's got kind of some mental issues he's trying to work through, and she wants to support him. So he's, you know, volunteers to watch her son, his nephew, and then he, you know, because she's dealing with that, he decides to take him, you know, to a couple of places across the country, and they form a bond, you know, with him interviewing kids, and then of course him being surrounded by one. You know, it's kind of making him appreciate, I guess, the youthfulness of, you know, kids growing up at that, you know, at that stage. So I like this. I think it's a smaller movie. It is, you know, it's not a laugh at minute kind of thing, but it doesn't get too heavy. It doesn't get too bogged down. I think it really strikes the right tone, and it is filmed in black and white. So just be aware. For me, I like it. It adds to the cinematic feel. But yeah, Come On, Come On, cool movie. I recommend it. You know what, I just realized I'm sort of leaning a little bit towards A24 in this video. Who knew? But this one is another A24 release, and that is Red Rocket. This one was a pure blind buy. I picked this one up based off a recommendation. I didn't even see a trailer or anything, and I loved it. I don't know what I was expecting going in. In fact, the first 10 minutes, I'm kind of like, I don't know, this could go either way. But I think really why I enjoy this one is because it's not necessarily something you're going to see every day. It's a little bit of a comedy. It's a little bit of a drama, but so basically, the story is this guy that used to live in Texas, and then he moved out to Los Angeles or California to be a porn star. And he kind of, through undisclosed reasons, he gets kind of booted out of LA. So he's forced to go back to Texas. And of course, he has an ex-wife there. He literally has nothing in his pocket, like no money, nothing. And he's really trying to start over. But he's such a charming huckster that what he goes through when he's back in Texas and just the people he interacts with, this is a cool movie. It really is. And it just, you know, I don't really want to spoil it because I think that's part of the fun is just to kind of explore for yourself. But he meets all these people and I like this. I'm going to rewatch it again very soon, but this is a good movie. It's just something to just sit back and relax. I think it clocks in at about 2 hours, maybe a little less or so. But yeah, Red Rockets, yes, check this one out. It's fun, and it's definitely something you haven't seen recently. So yeah, watch that one when you can. And this one is another movie, when it comes to actors that have passed on, especially ones that you knew a lot, you know, as far as, you know, when they were alive and, you know, were actively making movies, sometimes it hits you to kind of go back to their work. At least it does for me. And Robin Williams is one of those actors. I love the man's work. I think he was incredibly funny. He had a great personality, but while he's known for being very comedic, there's also some, you know, drama stuff that he has done that I feel, you know, doesn't get enough attention, but there's some beautiful work in there. What Dreams May Come, side note, absolutely need a 4K edition of this one day. Hopefully that'll happen. But I feel this is one of his more, I would say in his dramatic roles, definitely top 5. Easily top 5. You could throw in Awakenings in there, Good Will Hunting. But What Dreams May Come, it's sort of depressing. It is. But there's such beauty in it, and there's hopefulness, and it has a wonderful cast, you know, backing him up. Cuba Gooding Jr. and I think one of his, not early roles, but earlier roles. And just the visuals on this one are just beautiful. And it's sad, it's poignant, and it just kind of made me miss him a lot. You know, he was one of my favorites, and it's just, watching this again, it still hits me, but in a different way. It's a beautiful movie. It's a great, you know, even on Blu Ray it looks fantastic. But yeah, What Dreams May Come, highly recommend this one, and just go into it. And I would recommend you watch something light afterwards. So, but yeah, check this one out. It is beautiful film. So yeah. All right, so those are my April 2022 movie recommendations. If you're interested in any of these titles, I will leave an Amazon link in the comments section. If you use it, it really helps out the channel. I also want to hear from you. What would you recommend to me? I want to check out your recommendations, and hopefully I'll post them in a future video. So, all right, so until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.